We're here for another episode of Grammy Pro Buzzin. I'm Daniel Mendoza, and we're here in Las Vegas during EDC week with Steve James. Steve, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
Cool. Very good. Very good. So you're playing this week. You got a show coming up?
Yeah.
Where are you playing?
I'm playing Wet Republic Sunday afternoon with Martin Garrix.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So Wet Republic first Vegas show?
Yep. First Vegas show ever.
Nice. And 116.
Yeah.
And
I saw that.
Lots of people.
Yeah. It's
Awesome.
going to be hot, and it's going to be fun, and it's going to be wet.
It's going to be fun, hot, and wet, most definitely. Cool. Well, thank you for joining us today. I really, you're a young dude. You're like coming up. You're definitely like the next generation. And there's so much buzz about what you're working on and who you are. Give us a little bit of insight. Like, where did you start? Where did music first start for you? Where did dance music first start for you? And let's hear from you.
Yeah, so I really I started music very early on in life. My mom is a church musician. Her dad was a band teacher. So I was taking piano lessons when I was like 4. Yeah. I mean, my mom has told me that I used to hide under the piano bench during my lessons because I was in preschool. Yeah. And preschoolers don't usually do that. But yeah, so that was kind of grilled into me from 4 to maybe 15. So 10 plus years of classical piano from a guy with a master's in theory and music literature. Sure. So that was a really helpful base for when I was about 12 or 13. I had an older brother who was working a lot in Miami. Yeah. And just traveling back and forth and kind of bringing some culture back with him. And sure. That included a lot of sets from Ultra and a lot of stuff that was really cresting at the time, like Avicii and Afrojack and sure. David, this is right before Nothing But the Beat and David Guetta's kind of transcendence into pop. So it was just really good timing where he was coming back, and I was kind of looking for something that I wanted to put more time into music. I wanted to make that a part of my life, and classical piano was getting a little bit kind of one-dimensional. And he actually ended up giving me an old computer of his, and from there I torrented Ableton and some DJ software, and kept researching the culture and just figuring out where I could fit in.
Yeah, well, this is an really interesting kind of intro for you, because you didn't come from a major market where dance music is everywhere and you can find it readily and easily. But you came from a secondary market, a market where it wasn't as prevalent in everyday life. Where did you access it? What were the first things that you heard that made you just question everything? This is amazing.
It was definitely the 2013 Ultra sets. Those really just stuck with me for some reason. I'll never forget the track in specific. There's a lot of good electro in Afrojack's 2013 set, but about a third of the way in, he plays this Louder Than Words mashup with. It was the instrumental to Little Bad Girl, which was a track that didn't come out until years later on David Guetta's. But it's this huge anthemic progressive track, and I just remember listening to that set. I would listen to it while I mowed the lawn. That's what I did. And I just remember I would walk so fast while that song was playing, because there was just so much energy and so much the euphoria was just amazing. And just something about that always stuck with me, and I kept listening to these festival sets, which I found it was a great way to experience it too. Not just a lot of these tracks weren't even online. That set consisted of so much unreleased music and stuff. The time DJs were just playing their catalogs more than they were playing what was out. Yeah. So it was just listening to a lot of sets, which was, I think, also was just a great introduction to appreciating that side of it.
Definitely. And I think that getting the intro from straight up music rather than the culture that's surrounding it, I mean, you were really able to take the music and dive into it, especially with your background and your parents' background in music, and started creating stuff. So did it start with beats? Did it start with with lyrics for new songs? I know that you also have a really heavy lyrical songwriting background as well, for being so young.
Yeah. I mean, I always have been more melody driven. I listened back to some of the stuff that I did, the earliest stuff. I've found some old files, and I mean the drum programming has always been behind where kind of the chords and the melodies are. I mean, I can remember melodies from some of the junkiest beats that I've made, but I've always enjoyed it. I was learning a lot of sound programming early on, and just spending a lot of time reading stuff about Silent and sound design and then melodies. And I think that always it showed in my music too, because I think for a really long time, especially my earlier remixes and stuff like that, the melodies and the writing were what really resonated with people, because like the mixes and the actual aesthetic sometimes wasn't quite like up to the commercial par. But I think the writing is always what sort of has resonated with people.
Yeah, definitely. And that's led to some collaborations with some other artists. Like, let's talk about some of the collaborations from, you know, recent past.
Yeah, so I was lucky to write a song that ended up getting cut by Justin Bieber for his album Purpose, the title track. I've been working a lot in the studio the last couple months with a lot of different artists, from Lights, who's awesome, Matthew Koma, who I've always been a huge fan of.
Totally.
My dad is a huge fan of him.
Cool.
Yeah, just a lot of studio. The first half of this year was a lot of writing sessions, working with a lot of people who aren't even necessarily artists, but just, you know, some really notorious writers in the music industry, and just getting acclimated to that level of songwriting.
Yeah. So you mentioned the name Martin earlier when we were talking. There is other buzz about Martin and you in some sense. Like, what's going on?
Martin, we connected online. He told me he was a really big fan of Renaissance, actually my debut single, and I'm obviously, you know, grew up kind of admiring the hell out of him, being so young and so successful in genre, and even, I mean, progressive house specifically, like anthemic, euphoric songs. I mean, he's the man.
Totally.
So yeah, we just connected over common interest, and we sent some stuff back and forth over email. We've done a couple days in the studio. He's bringing me out to do some tour dates and work on more music, so just, yeah, I mean,
nice.
Yeah, you'll hear it soon.
Cool. And since you moved to LA and you're settling in a little bit, are you still working on the laptop with Ableton and the DJ stuff, or are you like bringing in new elements? Are you working with different production tools now?
Yeah, I work, so Pulse actually set me up in one of their studios. I was part of signing with them. So I go to Burbank every day from Hollywood and work in my studio there. I've got couple sets of monitors. I have some outboard stuff. I just got a Prophet 08, which is amazing.
Nice.
And so yeah, I don't get anything done anymore. Just read the manual and figure out how that works.
Right, definitely.
But yeah, I've been having, I mean, when it comes down to it, like when I go and do a session in another studio, it's laptop and it's headphones. I don't even like working like on their rig. I don't like when people hear what I'm doing. I just like, let me figure something out and I'll show it to you when it's done.
Very cool.
But I mean, both ways I really enjoy. I love working with the analog gear, and I love working with producers who know their way around that, because it's so educational and you can get such cool sounds out of hardware. It's much different than when you're working just with the perfection of software.
Definitely.
But I certainly love just popping on my headphones on a flight and making some melodies and working on tracks.
And so what are you excited about for the rest of the year?
For the rest of the year, just music, getting out music. I'm excited to go on the road in the fall. I have never like really toured heavily in my life, so that was another big part about wanting to put out music. Is, you know, when I say I really want to focus on the artist side, I want to go out. I've played plenty of shows up until now, and I just love meeting the fans of my music. They're always just the nicest, kindest, most loving people. So I just want to get the music out there, get out on the road, just be active, and, you know, be with the fans.
Cool. Well, Steve, thanks for coming by today and
Thank you
talking
for
with
having me.
us and talking about music. This has been another episode of Grammy Pros Buzzin', live from Las Vegas. Thanks again.